On this Ask Katrina, the question is, hey, Katrina, how do I make friends at work? And I know that that may sound like a silly question on the surface, but I also know that we have all asked ourselves that same question. Anytime we get promoted, the people that have been our friends, so to speak, at a certain level, and we move up and maybe they don't go with us or something happens, we've got to make some new work friends, so to speak, right? Because the conversations that you're having on a daily basis are different. When you're at a certain level and you've made friends here, you're all talking about the same things. But when you change levels or your friends change levels, even, you've got to find friends that you can speak with, that you can just share the pain with, so to speak, the struggles, the frustrations, all the things that happen, and let those things out, or bounce ideas off of each other, right? Not just the negative, but the, hey, what do you think about this? Or do you think this would work? Or you've got to have somebody to do those things with. You got to be able to pitch and catch, right? It's got to be somebody who can really understand you and you can collaborate and work well together. And so there are a lot of requirements that come with work friends, right? Who can you trust? What do you share? Do I share too much? And so how do you make friends? Well, the first thing is ideally look for someone who is at the similar level as you are. They're going to naturally and inherently understand the same struggles. They're going to want a friend at the same level too. And so that's a given, right? That commonality, the commonality of being at the same level, working through the same things. That always helps. Okay. So that's the first thing. Then the other thing is look and see if they're trustworthy. Look and see if they have some integrity. You're not going to know that right out of the gate, but you'll know that over time. You'll have some various interactions with them and you're going to understand if you're going to be able to share or not. And so you're like, oh, what do I share? Well, test the waters. Don't share the most important private things about yourself from a career perspective or a personal perspective right out of the gate, right? You can be vulnerable. That's how friendships are made, with a little bit of vulnerability. But when I say be vulnerable, I just mean like, hey, what'd you think about that meeting? That's as vulnerable as you want to get right out of the gate. Okay. Now, I've had super close working relationships and made a lot of really good friends at work, that I still have those friendships and I value them. Super important. But they come from slowly building trust and rapport and a relationship over time. And so typically you're going to look for, like I said, someone's at the level that you're at, someone who can keep a secret, maintain integrity. And the other thing is you got to find some things that you have in common, right? The only thing that you have in common is work, then they may only be your friend at work. If you're looking for a friend that's a work friend and an outside of work friend, then you got to have some things in common outside of work too. So you got to look for that. But ultimately, the critical thing is beyond the fact that you're at the same level and going through the same struggles. It's also the fact that they can be a confidant, that you can be that for them, that they are trustworthy, that they're going to understand where you're coming from, that they're also going to kick you in the butt a little bit, tell you to get over yourself. Because that's what friends do, right? And so I've given you all the things that you're looking for, but the way that you do it is you look for someone at your level. You start having conversations with them. You start chatting with them, sitting beside them during meetings. You schedule some different meetings for recaps, right? Maybe you go grab lunch and you slowly start to build some rapport and you find things that you have in common. And then you start having those friends. Now, before you go build work friends, maybe you have some, you're like, oh, screwed that up. How do I do it better next time? Okay, so next promotion, what you do, right, is you go and you put boundaries in place. What will I share? What will I not share? When will I hang out with these people? When will I not hang out with these people? And you create clear boundaries before you build those relationships. So you know that if you only want to have friends that are work friends at work and have personal friends outside of work, that you draw those boundaries and there's nothing, that matters other than you're not telling them, hey, I'm only your friend at work, right? You just have the boundaries in place and you don't offer to do things outside of work, right? You just establish the boundaries because once you go past the boundaries, it's hard to get it back. That's in any relationship. And so that's the way that you do it. Have the boundaries, find the commonalities, typically the position, level, and work that you're doing, the similarities there help. And then share what you feel comfortable sharing, build rapport, and build a relationship over time. The boundaries also help, by the way, in deciding what you're willing to share with them and what you're not willing to share based on the things that really bother you at work versus not. If you're ready to make a move and get promoted or not. Because once those things come out of your mouth, you can never get them back. So the key thing that I would tell you about making work friends outside of the who are you looking for is boundaries. Boundaries are critical because then you're not going to have any regrets relative to making that friendship, relative to what you're sharing in that friendship. And then when he or she or you move on and you change roles because you're both climbing and doing these things, that you don't stress and worry that they know something about you that might get out later based on a move that one or both of you have made. You want those secrets to be maintained, and that's critically important. And so if you worry about that at any point, don't share the secrets. Have a surface level friendship, have someone that you can chat about work specific problems, and then go home and have a great relationship with your spouse, go home and have a great relationship with your best friend, and you can keep all of those things separate and it's all okay. So give yourself permission for that too.